Sorry about this video being delayed. I hope I didn't inconvenience you guys. That's funny, right? Just start the review. One can scarcely judge an entire series by one episode. I know that with some shows, if you review one episode, you've reviewed them all. If I were to review another episode of Rubik the Amazing Cube, it would be redundant, because every episode of that show is the same pandering, uncreative trite. But with the majority of shows, each episode is going to be something different, and it's often a stretch to say that what applies to one episode will apply to the entire series. You'll notice how this was a major problem in my review of Are You Happy Now? By the way, my next review will be a new review of that episode because I don't feel I made my thoughts on it clear enough while trying to critique the series as a whole. Just a heads up. To prevent myself from screwing up like that again, it's best for me to look at shows like My Little Pony, Steven Universe, or as I'm reviewing today, Gravity Falls. Not only do I really like these shows, but each episode gives me something unique to talk about. Granted, there are also bad shows that fail in multiple ways, but for now let's just stick with the good stuff. Premiering in 2012, Gravity Falls is a show focusing on twins Dipper and Mabel Pines investigating paranormal occurrences while on summer vacation with their uncle. The series has received acclaim for its well-developed characters, clever humor, and intelligent overarching narrative. Personally, it's one of my favorite shows. There are several episodes of this show that I will get to at some point, but for now, let's take a look at the Inconveniencing. The episode begins with Wendy inviting Dipper and Mabel up to the roof. Since this is basically the first episode to focus on her, we get some insight into Wendy's personality. She's a bit of a slacker, but has a very amiable and fun demeanor, and apparently she sneaks up to the roof every day. They goof off for a bit, and it's clear that Dipper is taking affection to her. When Wendy leaves, Mabel picks up on Dipper's affection, setting up part of our conflict. In the next scene, Mabel and Wendy are goofing off again, and Dipper is clearly nervous about his crush. Not helping this fact is how Mabel mentions the lammy dance that he used to do when he was younger.
Mom used to dress him up in a lamb costume and make him do the lammy dance. Dipper would prance around and sing a song about grazing.
The workday ends, so Dipper asks if they can all go out on the town together. To convince Wendy that they can handle her friends, he tells her that he and Mabel are 13, which is not true, and Mabel quickly picks up on how he's only doing this to spend time with Wendy. Okay, I need to focus on this point for a moment. Mabel is obviously a very silly character, but our smart writers know that if she was completely random all the time, she would get annoying, very quickly. Her off-the-wall behavior is thus balanced by her being observant and thoughtful about the world around her. Her character is three-dimensional enough for her to actually feel like a real person. To me, she's almost like my friend Josie in cartoon form. And you guys don't know who that is. Okay, the point is, even the silliest character on the show is good enough for me to relate them to a real person. That bodes well for the episode. So Dipper and Mabel introduce themselves to Wendy's friends.
She's not much for first impressions, unlike this guy. This guy.
And Wendy's friends are introduced in turn. This scene is a great example of the show's comedic style. It feels very conversational, like the sorts of jokes you'd have with a friend. And as a result, it flows very naturally. This is Robbie. He's a recurring character in the show, and this is his first episode. For now, though, he's just a secondary character. So they all get into the car, we get some more humor, and then we cut to Grunkle Stan watching television.
Kids! I can't find the remote and I refuse to stand up!
Yeah, let's just leave him to that. The episode cuts back to him a few more times, and it's done relatively well, but there's not really much else to say. We cut back to Wendy's friends, who've arrived at a condemned convenience store. Apparently, some people were murdered inside of it, and Dipper is put off by this. They try to get into the store, but the door is locked. So Dipper gets into the store through the air conditioner and opens it up for them. Now he's on everyone's good side. Wendy turns on the lights, and we see that everything still works, despite the store being closed since 1995. This is the first indication we get of there being something up with the store. Of course, if you know anything about Gravity Falls, you already guessed how the store is actually haunted. The paranormal is the show's bread and butter. Mabel comes across this stuff called Smile Dip, which is apparently a banned candy. Meanwhile, Wendy tells Dipper that the night is going well.
And your sister seems to be going nuts for that Smile Dip.
Maybe I've had too much. What do you think?
you like to eat my candy paws?
Of course, you little angel.
You know, this is probably why they had an episode focused on justifying Mabel's silliness, but yeah, that's another review. So they ask Dipper to get some ice, but when he opens the freezer, he sees this brain thing and quickly shuts the door. When he opens the freezer again, it's gone. When everyone else approaches him to ask what's going on, he diverts their attention.
Hey look! Dancy Pants Revolution! The game that tricks people into exercising!
Didn't I already review this? As Thompson plays the dance game, Dipper sees more evidence of paranormal activity. Panicking, he tries to call Stan, but can't get through. Then he tries talking to Mabel.
Mabel?
The future is in the past. Onward, Sail Shuma!
I'll have what she's having. Robbie finds some chalk outlines behind the counter, which appear to confirm the rumors of murder. One of them gets dared to lie in it, but Dipper is worried about the ghosts.
All I'm saying is, why tempt the fates? I mean, what if this place really is haunted?
The others aren't exactly keen on his suggestion. Dipper lies in the outline for some reason, and then suddenly this happens.
Status update.
Wow, 77 likes already! It's almost like I'm not a complete loser. So things are rapidly going out of control. This girl is now trapped inside of the TV, and 2 more of them get zapped away. The ghost suddenly possesses Mabel and starts threatening them, but when they ask to leave, it obliges.
But before you leave, hot dogs are now half off. I know it might be crazy, but you gotta try these dogs.
Well, that's definitely a convenience store owner. Also, this moment of calm works very well when juxtaposed with the surrounding scenes of intensity. Of course, they don't want to stay for any amount of time, so the ghost turns this guy into a hot dog. Then everyone in the store gets levitated, forcing Dipper and Wendy to hide in a cabinet. Dipper concludes that since the others were just doing normal teenage things when they were abducted, then the ghost must hate teenagers. He comes to this conclusion a bit unrealistically quickly, but I'm nitpicking. Sorry, there's not exactly much here for me to negatively comment on. Dipper goes up to the ghosts and admits that he's not really 13, which gets all of the madness to stop and the ghost to be revealed as an elderly couple. When they were alive, they thought teenagers were disrespectful, so they banned them from the store. Some teens retaliated by playing rap music. It was apparently so bad that they both died. And because this story is so cheerfully narrated, it is incredibly creepy. The ghosts say that the only way that they'll let his friends go is if Dipper does a funny dance, and since he knows the Lammy dance, he performs that. I do not want to spoil this part for you. Just know that the dance is hilarious and I cannot do it justice. The ghosts vanish and everyone is freed. To keep him from being embarrassed, Wendy makes up a story about Dipper beating up the ghosts, and it's a sweet moment.
Well, I'm probably scarred for life.
Hooray for mental trauma! Wendy says that they should hang out again at some point, and they drive back to the Mystery Shack. The episode ends with a shot of the store. This episode is nice. For a show that deals with the paranormal, Gravity Falls is exceptionally relatable, and this episode is no exception. With a relatively simple plot, it delivers some quality content. The characters are all likable, it flows very naturally, and it gives us a nice mix of humor and macabre. This episode doesn't try to be anything special, it just wants to present 20 minutes of fun, and that's exactly what it delivers. The Inconveniencing gets 3.5 out of 4 stars from me. It's a down-to-earth ghost story with great production and good entertainment value. It's a satisfying way to spend some downtime, and a great way to get into the show as a whole. Join me next time when I revisit an older review.